Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm going to do my bi-weekly wrap up a day early because I have a lot of stuff to do tomorrow. So I'm going to try and make this quick. Don't know how it's going to go, but anyways. I can't remember if I said I had finished this one yet or not, but it's The Giver by Lois Lowry, book 1 in the Giver series. I gave it a 4, and you have to bear with my tablet. It's really not having any happiness left. It's getting very slow. So The Giver, I hadn't realized what it was about. I've never read it before. I liked it, but I didn't. I would never want to live in a world where only one person has the memories. You don't see color. You don't have emotions. Everything is the same. Like they call it the sameness. And I'm anxious to, or I'm excited to see what happens next in the series. So yeah, I did enjoy it. It was very well written. The next one I finished, maybe we'll just do it like this, was Joanne Fluke's Peach Cobbler Murder. I can't remember the number of the series, but let's see, I think I gave it a 3. I might have to. Oh, see, it's delayed. Let's see. I still don't like how she is dating 2 guys. One makes her heart go pitter-patter, which is Mike, the detective. The other one is Norman, who is a dentist, and he's the safe one. I want her to go with Norman. Don't spoil it for me. I don't know who she's going to pick. I did give it a 4. But it's the way she treats them. She's always happy with Norman around, but when Mike's not around, she's angry at him because he was kind of talking to another woman, and yet she's dating 2 guys. So, but I don't like how Mike is always near Shauna Lee, a girl that had moved and helped him out with his divorce, or not divorce, his wife dying, and now she's kind of all over him. Didn't like that so much. So then I read, but I still gave it a 4 because this one was much better. But somebody had opened up a bakery across the street and was taking all her customers. Even though their food was no good, they were still taking all the customers. So then I read Losing It by Cora Carmack, book 1 in Losing It series. I gave it a 4. I was not expecting this to like this. I went into it thinking it was a taboo relationship with like a really young girl and an older professor, and it's not. Her friend is pressuring her to lose her virginity, so she takes her to a bar. She meets up with this guy because he's sitting there reading Shakespeare in a bar. So she takes him back to her place. Nothing happens, thank God. But the next day she finds out that that's her theater professor. They're very close in age, so that's a plus. She is over 18, obviously. She's been in college. I think she's 22. So this is her final year in university, college, whatever. And so even though there's a mutual attraction between the two, they don't want to do anything because they are student and teacher. So I appreciated that. So I'm looking forward to reading the next one now. The next one I finished was a short story that I had to read before I read a different one. And this is Ian's Dream Girl, a One Hot December prequel. And yeah, you really should read this before the next book. It's Men at Work 2.5, and it's by Tiffany Reese. It is a Harlequin Blaze, so there's spicy stuff. Not as much in this one though, but the next one there's spicy stuff. This is just, I gave it 4. It's about Ian and Flash. Flash works as a welder for his company, or his dad's company. There's you're not allowed to fraternize with the workers. He's one of the bosses. And they've had a mutual attraction for ever since she was hired, and when he came to work for them, because he had to prove himself that he could work without having his daddy's money, because his dad is a senator, I think, so a state senator, I think. So it's just a really quick story. But, well, I'll tell this one then. So the next book is Men at Work 3, One Hot December by Tiffany Rice. And this is 6 months later after that prequel. And what happens, because, well, I'm not going to say what happens. So it's their full story. Something happens at the beginning of this, or you find out what happens at the beginning of this, but you don't know what happens at the end of the prequel, if that makes sense. But it is Ian's and Flash's full story. And it's a trilogy. You can read it without reading the other two books, because the other two, you just get a glimpse of one character and you don't even really get a glimpse of her. So then I read The Book Swap by Tessa Bickers. I gave it a 5-star. This, probably because it made me cry, because I related so much to having a best friend die, and not being able to say goodbye. So I was bawling at the end of this. But they knew each other in grade school or high school? High school. And they were kind of like a trifecta. Her best friend Bonnie, and, oh, what was his name? It's Bonnie, Aaron, and James. So something happens in high school. You don't find out what happens until later on. Something happens in high school, and Aaron and Bonnie no longer speak to James. So she's cleaning out her room, trying to get a new start, and puts one of her favorite books in a little free library with the last thing that Bonnie had given her stuck inside of it. She goes to find it, it's gone. James had picked it up, and because it was annotated. James has other things going on with his life, with his mom, who is bipolar, and who has blamed him for her bipolar, which it's unreal what his mother does to him. So then he annotates the book, and it was To Kill a Mockingbird, puts it back in the little free library, and they start doing a book swap. So they annotate, but they don't know who each other is. And so it goes on from there. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. Oh, numb fingers. And so the other, oh, why did I show you that? It's right here. So yeah, I had it as a book, a physical copy. I didn't read it. And then I finished Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. This one was a little bit slow to get started, but it's STEM, obviously. It's Ali Hazelwood. So she is on an app. Well, they're both on an app that it's just for hookups. So she hooks up when she needs some release. And she matches with him, but the app is the girl talks to the guy. The guy doesn't talk to the girl. It's the girls who talk to the guys. So they meet up for a hookup, and her brother intervenes, and so he just ends up taking her home. Nothing happens. The next day, there's talk of a takeover at her company, and lo and behold, it's him and his 3 business partners. So it's that kind of a storyline. They do have the mutual attraction. They decide to do it once and then get it over with, and then things kind of start happening. The owner of the company that she works for is one of her best friends. There was a couple of twists that I did not see coming at all. So yeah, I gave this a 4, I believe, as well. And then the last book I finished was Virgin on Her Wedding Night. I gave it a 2. It's by Lynn Graham. I cannot get behind a relationship where all he's doing is insulting her, and then the next day she's jumping into bed with him. So they were previously engaged. She leaves him at the altar, and you don't find out why until the end. Because she marries a rich man. So he thinks she's a gold digger because he's just a truck driver, delivery driver. 5 years later, her husband had died the previous year. And so he wants revenge on her and her family. He wants her to be his mistress, and she can't get behind that. So she demands marriage. Yeah, it's in the title. Virgin on her wedding night. To him. Yeah. So it's, yeah, but he insults her, and then she's just wanting him in her bed. Like, no, it's a bit ridiculous. So I'm over that. But it was to meet a challenge, so it didn't take me long to read. Oh, sorry, numb fingers. I'm swollen if you can't tell. So what I'm currently reading, The Fake Mate. Let's see. The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I'm about 60% through. Oh, can't really tell. I've been reading it on my phone, so it's going to say 1% at the bottom. But this is about two doctors. She's an ER doctor. He's a special cardiologist. Oh, stop it. Okay, we're going to turn this off. There we go. My Kobo doesn't like this sleep cover. It turns it off and on. Anyways, so she's an Omega. It's shifters. She's an Omega wolf, and he's an Alpha. And apparently it's a very rare thing for Alphas and Omegas to mate. She needs him to get her grandmother off her back because her grandmother wants her to mate and have grandkids. He needs her to get the board off his back because you have to be a mated Alpha in order to work there. So, yeah. So they agreed to do this little fake dating, which is one of my favorite tropes. I love fake dating. So, I hate numb fingers. I really do. I'm also still reading Pachinko by Min Jin Lee. I'm enjoying this. I'm just not enjoying it as much as I was hoping to enjoy it. I love sagas. I love World War II. The writing's good. I don't know why I'm not enjoying this as much as I thought I would. But it's about a girl who gets pregnant in the 1930s. Like, it kind of goes over her parents' relationship, and then she gets pregnant by a married man. She doesn't know he's married. So one of the boarders at her mother's boarding house is a very sick priest with tuberculosis. So he recovers, and they agree to marry, and then they go to Osaka, Japan, so he can give her son a name and not have her ostracized. And it's the story of being Korean in Japan during the war, and afterwards, how badly Koreans are treated, that sort of deal. So like I said, I'm enjoying it. I wanted to like it more. I'm just not enjoying it as much as I thought I would. So, just because I don't have much room here. Then I'm reading for book 27 in Rita Mae Brown and Sneaky Pie Brown's Mrs. Murphy mystery, Probable Clause. It's the same political drivel. There's fat shaming in the first chapter, so yeah. It's the dual timeline. Harry is standing beside an architect and somebody else, a police detective, and they're talking outside, and a guy drives by on a motorcycle and kills the architect right in front of him. but it's all in black. They can't figure out who it is. So, and of course Harry knows exactly what type of bike it is when it's, you know, goes flashing past her. Yeah, it is what it is, but it's just, the cats aren't doing the mystery anymore, so I don't know why it's continued to be called Mrs. Murphy, because Mrs. Murphy barely solves any mysteries. I really do wish that Rita May got off her political bandstanding, and yeah, because the first couple of books in the series were awesome. The characters are great, and you don't see any of the original characters anymore except for Harry and her husband Fair. So it's sad. So I'm also reading Peter Pan by J.M. Barrie. I've only read The Little Golden, and I've seen the movie like once when I was a kid. It's a little bit different, but it's very illustrated, but it's dark illustrations. And yeah, so it's for a challenge. I'm not, oh, I forgot the other book over there. Anyways, so the one to match that challenge is, because you have to read a book and then read a book similar to that. So I'm going to be reading, is it Everlong or Ever? I can't remember. I showed it in a previous video. But this week I will be reading, or hopefully, The Truth According to Ember by Danica Nava. I can't remember what this is for a challenge. I can't remember if it, I think it's a new release, to read something, a new release in romance. Because there's also another book over there to read something that is from an indigenous culture. Then The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. It's to read something from a landlocked country, and this takes place in Switzerland. This, just because I saw it at the library, Deadly Yellowstone Secrets by Carrie Trumbo. I have no idea, but it's love-inspired suspense. The Soldier's Scoundrel by Cat Sebastian. It's book 1 in, I don't know what the name of the series is, but it's male historical romance. Library due date is, this one is You'll Be Mine by Jennifer Lebrecht. It's a Blaze novel, and it was to read, like, sort your TBR in its last page, so Yule. And Keeper of the Heart by Joanna Lindsay. It's book 2 in the Licentiaire series trilogy, and it is a futuristic romance. Yeah, so it's to read a book that starts with a K. So that is my TBR. I have to go. So I will talk to you later. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful week, and I will see you later. Bye.